Welcome to part 39 of Look to the Olympics. Prophetic message. And I got just this little miniature clip I want to throw in here at the outset. This is August the 5th of 2024, by the way. And I just want to throw this little clip in before I get into the next footage. Excuse me.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed.
You won't have to do it anymore, he says. You won't have to do it anymore. He's right. You won't ever have to do it anymore.
It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You gotta get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not gonna have to vote. I'm a Christians. I'm a Christians. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not gonna have to vote. I'm a Christians. I'm a Christians. I'm a Christian.
We'll have it fixed so good you won't have to vote, he says.
I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian. Listen up! There is a storm coming! Like nothing you have ever seen! And not a one of you is prepared for it.
Sounds about right.
You think I'm crazy?
Slow.
Hey, I'm talking to you, Russell. Hey!
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
Can you see, hear, or sense the storm that is upon us?
I've got one.
Can you see, hear, or sense the storm that is upon us? I doubt that. Let's get ready to rumble! I couldn't resist that. You'll see why in a moment when I start this video. I have a right to be nuts. I'm nuts. Prophets are nuts by nature.
The whole world watching. We have just witnessed a biological woman, also known as just a woman, in a fight with a boxer who was not allowed to compete against.
Also known as just a woman. That's her name. That's her other name. Also known as just another woman. She's just another woman. Don't mix her up with the other woman. She's just another woman.
Women last year because it's a man.
The world has gone crazy, and arguably it all began in 2008 when they abandoned the biblical definition of marriage and made up their own, whatever that was, and that was a slippery slope that led over the cliff of insanity.
Khalif was disqualified during the 2023 World Championships and sanctioned by the International Boxing Association for failing to meet gender standards because of high levels of testosterone.
It took 46 seconds for the woman, his opponent from Italy, to withdraw from the fight in tears.
With the Italian crying out,
I couldn't take it anymore. And several sharp punches to the head, including the nose by Khalif, Karini abandoned the fight, threw her helmet to the floor, stormed off the boxing ring, and in fact went on to say that she had never felt such strong blows in a contest before.
This is a biological man from Algeria. We should expect this. This is the next logical step of America's influence in the world.
Romans 1:18 through 25. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who suppress the truth in unrighteousness, because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like corruptible man, and birds, and four-footed animals, and creeping things. Therefore, God also gave them up to uncleanness, in the lust of their hearts, to dishonor their bodies among themselves, who exchanged the truth of God for the lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Romans chapter 1 tells us God has revealed to mankind that he is the creator of all things, and that he has made it known to mankind that they are without excuse through his creation that he exists. God demands that we worship him and recognize him as the creator. And when a society does not glorify him as God, he gives them up to 3 phases of judgment. Romans 1 verse 24 says, Therefore God also gave them up to uncleanness, and the lust of their hearts. The first phase of judgment is an impure heart. The second phase of judgment is of the body, verses 26 and 27. For this reason God gave them up to vile passions, for even their women exchanged the natural use for what is against nature. Likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust for one another, men with men committing what is shameful, and receiving in themselves the penalty of their error which was due. The third phase of judgment is in verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a debased mind, to do those things which are not fitting. First, the heart is rotten, then the body follows, and then the mind goes. The moral law of God written on the heart has literally been stomped out and replaced with cultural immorality. Immorality now goes in every direction. The mind is corrupt. People don't think right. They advocate all the wretched things and depreciate all the virtuous things. And what flows out of this pornographic, homosexual, depraved culture? All evil. Verses 29 through 32. Being filled with all unrighteousness, sexual immorality, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, evil-mindedness. They are whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, violent, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, undiscerning, untrustworthy, unloving, unforgiving, unmerciful, who knowing the righteous judgment of God, that those who practice such things are deserving of death, not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. In these last days, society has not retained God in their knowledge, and in return, God has given them over to a debased mind to do those things which are not fitting. Verse 32 brings Romans chapter 1 to an end with a very bleak view of human nature. The point of the last half of the verse is to show that many people not only do things that they know deserve death, but also entice others to do them and approve when they do. In other words, the end point of depravity is not just a love affair with sin, but the desire to bring others with you to destruction. It's not just that people choose death for themselves in the passion of sin, but that they become suicidal at the spiritual level and assist others in eternal self-destruction by approving their sin. We are watching this play out right before our very eyes.
This week we saw one of the biggest scandals in Olympic history, and nobody's talking about it. Italian boxer Angela Carini, in the blue.
Nobody's talking about it. Who's he talking about? Not talking about it. Seems like this has got a lot of publicity to me. I don't even really watch the news and stuff, and I've seen a lot about it. Apparently he's hiding in the closet or something. I don't know. He needs to get out of that closet. Of course, I know he's just doing his job and saying whatever they scripted him to say. But it doesn't change the facts.
Squared off against Algerian boxer Emain Khalif.
Now
But
watch this, you're
Khalif
gonna love
is
this.
genetically male.
Khalif looking to come with the straight punches to the body of Carini. Nice little lead up from Khalif. Solid straight right hand from Khalif there.
The Italian woman quit the fight after taking those shots, then fell to her knees and cried. She said Khalif threw harder punches than she's ever felt before. Makes sense. Men have 162 more punching power percentage on average than women. But how did a boxer with male DNA compete against a woman in the Olympics? It's complicated, they say. Khalif, they say, has identified as a woman his whole life. They say there's no indication Khalif is trans. But last year, Khalif was DQ'd from competing in a different boxing championship after testing positive for high testosterone and the male chromosome XY. The Olympics says that's okay.
These athletes, boxers, are entirely eligible. They are women on their passport.
Eligible.
They've competed for many years, and I actually think it's not helpful to start stigmatizing people who take part in sport like this.
So the Olympics thinks it's fair for a genetic male to punch a woman so hard in the face she quits and cries, as long as it says female on her passport.
Well, when she got up, he
And
patted
they're
her
gonna
on the
let
back.
this guy keep beating up women in Paris, and they're just going to hand him a gold medal for it? Next summer, the Olympics in LA, in California, Kamala's home state. Are they going to allow that? Because today, the new Biden-Harris Title IX rules went into effect, allowing men to change in girls' locker rooms.
This is about worshiping false gods. Remember that. The Olympics is homage to false gods. So when you see anything about the Olympics, take that into consideration. It might help you understand why it's happening.
And take scholarships meant for girls. And if you call somebody by the wrong pronoun, could be a hate crime. Women's sports are being wrecked. Girls are in physical danger, and Kamala needs to answer for this because those are her policies. But reporters won't ask her, and the media won't report it. Donald Trump says when he's president, he's gutting the trans rules.
I can tell you one thing. Men will not be playing in women's sports. When you look at this young lady from a different country, what difference does it make? Just look and say, oh, man, what hit me? I just got hit by a horse. And she just, I've never seen that.
I got hit by a horse,
And she said, I've had enough.
Riley Gaines is an Outkick.com host, ambassador for the
he
Independent
does
Women's
make me
Forum, and
laugh.
author
I'll
of
give him
Swimming
that.
Against the Current. Riley, I think a woman's going to die at some point. That's what's going to happen. Someone is going to die.
Unfortunately, Jesse, that's what it's going to take for these weak-kneed, spineless, morally bankrupt cowards at the IOC, our elected leaders at the Democratic Party, the same leaders at the NCAA. That's what it's going to take, ultimately, for them to see the harm, see the severity, see the trajectory of where we're going, and change their policy. And even then, if this isn't a line we draw in the sand, I don't even know if a woman being fatally injured, if that's the line we draw in the sand. It's tragic that this is the reality. South Park predicted this. I predicted this, honestly. I mean, I could have told you. I've seen all over social media people saying, how did we get here? Again, you shouldn't be surprised by this. This is what we should be expecting.
So they're going to hang a gold medal around this guy's neck for punching women in the face in the middle of Paris with all the music playing. How the hell is this country, is this world going to stand for that? People are going to rush the stage and rip this medal off this guy's neck.
You would think so, but we have a lot of people who have become...
No, they're not going to rush the stage. That's his. He earned it unfairly and unsquarely, but he still earned it just by showing up and punching a woman in the face. It's all scripted. All this is scripted. This is all part of the circus. Worshipping their idol gods. I'll see you in the next part.